Hey everybody, welcome to the Monday Unmadness for May 4th. And we're going to be mixing it up today. I have a very special guest, Mr. Sloan Wilkins of Executive Financial Coaching from Brisbane, Australia. He'll be sharing his wisdom with us about how to ensure that you're engaging with the financial side of your life using your values, something we've talked a lot about on the Monday Unmadness program. And since we last talked, we have talked about kind of creating a spending plan. And so this is why I thought it would be really important for Sloan to come in and join us with the Monday Unmadness crowd, because he's really going to add a lot of background and context to why getting detailed about your financials is so important. So welcome, Sloan.
Thank you so much, Marissa. It's beautiful to be with you here and your audience. Thank you.
Well, thanks. We're happy to have you. So for those who are new to Monday Unmadness, again, I am Marissa Krupa. I'm a career transition coach. I specialize in helping mid-career women with their career transition, especially if they were forced out of their positions or are experiencing high levels of burnout. My background is in mindfulness and somatics. And as a result, I will be, and even with Sloan here, we will still be using components of the mindfulness-based stress reduction program that was developed by Jon Kabat-Zinn in the 1970s. So make sure that you have a scratch paper or a journal handy, because we'll be doing some writing later on. So I'd like to introduce Sloan more thoroughly. Sloan has been in the financial world for quite a long time. And I was so delighted to meet him because when we first connected through a networking group, I was like, okay, what is this financial guy going to be talking about, right? But then we had the most incredible conversation, if you remember, Sloan, and we found just so many points of alignment that were just, for me, mind-blowing. I never expected to have such a fantastic conversation. So Sloan has been in financial services for over 30 years, and including banking and financial planning. After leaving his corporate job in 2021, he now serves clients as an executive financial strategist. He's a former financial advisor who helped with all the different financial advising components that you normally would think of. But he, like myself, serves clients all over the world as well as Australia. And he specializes in supporting professionals and business owners to create the financial confidence to move beyond just money into meaning. And that's really why I found so much synergy with our connection. He's also about to celebrate his 28th wedding anniversary with his wife, Michelle. So congratulations on that. I don't know what divorce rates are like in Australia, but when I saw that, I was like, dang, you go. Like, that's so great. And then Sloan,
they're pretty similar.
Is it? Okay. Well, congratulations.
Yes,
I mean, that is worth celebrating, right? Sloan also has two children, Milla, age 19, and Mackenzie, age 25. And when he's not doing financial matters, he is spending time with his family, reading, meditating, which was another area we connected on, and is the president of his local Buddhist monastery, which I just love. So again, welcome, and so glad that you are here. So let's move into, you're welcome. Let's move in a little bit more to your story. And what I was really struck by was kind of the parallels between my story and your story when we were first talking.
Yes,
and it really was, before you struck out on your own as a financial coach, share with us a little bit about why you left the realm of financial advice and began focusing on what we'll be talking about, which is financial well-being, and a little bit also about the differences between the two.
Yes, absolutely. So definitely for me, I'd always been interested in personal development, but when I hit my 40s, I went to learn to meditate, and that wasn't learning Buddhist meditation. I went to actually learn transcendental meditation. So TM, which is the modern name for that there. And that really helped me to calm and remove stress from my life. And so that was very valuable. But really what I was doing, I started to feel increasingly a disconnect between my career and the job that I'd given that career, which was, help me achieve success, help me achieve financially, but also make me happy was the job that I'd given that. And of course, we know that rarely aligns unless we're very deliberate about it. So I didn't know how to change. I didn't know what was next, but I did know that what I was doing wasn't the future. And so it took me a couple of years to begin, and one short contract, which was a false start in between fully leaving the corporate world and fully committing to what I'm doing now. But I just hit that point, and I'm pretty sure that I borrowed this phrase from Dr. Wayne Dyer, which was moving beyond ambition and into meaning. And it became increasingly clear to me that the world of financial well-being was where I wanted to be. For myself, two main reasons for that. One, went all the way back to when I was 12 and my parents experienced bankruptcy as small business owners. So that was back in the late 80s, and interest rates in our country were around about 22% for business borrowings, and inflation was running at 17 and 18%. So it was a really interesting economic time, and a lot of small businesses suffered through that phase. So we went from having quite a nice life to not having quite a nice life. Mum and Dad's business went, our home went, and a few years down the track, our family unit didn't survive either. So Mum and Dad's marriage didn't make it out the other side of that. And so got to see up close what financial devastation looks like and all the impacts it can have, from relationship challenges to mental health issues, etc. It really does ripple out from the individual to the relationship, to the family unit, to the community. So that was where my passion came from. And I increasingly wanted to jump into financial well-being. And for me, the biggest difference is financial well-being is largely around education and empowerment, as opposed to financial advice, which is quite specific, in our country at least, normally for higher net worth people, and focused a lot in and around the investment and product solutions, portfolio solutions that are relevant for those people. But I wanted to work towards helping people make that connection, as I had done, between how am I looking after my money and how does that serve the life that I'm truly trying to build. So that for me was something really to lean into, and it's been really satisfying to help my clients in that way.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for that. I just related so much to that story. And I did not realize the piece about your parents' business failing and how that influenced you. And I think this was where we aligned so well when we first met, because I have so many similar aspects to my story as well, which I have shared bits and pieces with the Monday Unmadness audience, but I want to kind of close some of those gaps. And I loved the Wayne Dyer quote, because I love Wayne Dyer. Like, I was so sad when he passed away, but I just got so much out of his books and out of all the different things that he talked about. And when you shared that, I was thinking about one of the books I actually have on audio book, like on a tape, and it's called It's Always Lonely Along the Extra Mile. And it's about this phrase that he uses, don't die with your music still in you.
Yes.
Right? Like, get the music out, like get the symphony out, get the song written and out into the world, you know? And that deeply touched me when I read about that. And what I also really got from your story, which is similar to what I've shared, is that like that in between time between corporate and what you do now it's like, for me, this happened as well. Like, my last teaching job was so painful that it was the catalyst that brought me into what I do now. And even though there was so much pain, it's like it had to be that painful. Otherwise, I wasn't going to shift. And that's really something that I want the audience to kind of consider and contemplate in your own story, right? So my last teaching job was it was such a disaster. I'm almost even embarrassed to say, but I was actually placed on administrative leave with pay. And I was like kicked out of the school 2 weeks before the school year ended. I have never, ever experienced anything like that in my entire life. Never. I've never been like the bad kid, ever. Do you know what I'm saying? And it was dysfunctional. It was that insane. that I was just, I mean, I was devastated. I couldn't even say goodbye to my students. I mean, it was so messed up. And I sat through it and I processed it and I felt what I felt. And afterwards I was just like, okay, all right, universe, like, I guess the message is don't ever go back, because this is just completely wrong for you. And I knew it was wrong on a lot of levels and for a lot of years, but I kind of kept, making it work, and sacrificing my own internal peace and my own alignment to self-care, self-love, all those things, to like kind of make it work. Like, because I wanted the pension, I wanted this, I wanted, and it was, I was just miserable. And by the last year, it was absolutely devastating. So that really kicked me into trying new things. But then after my dad passed away, I had an opportunity to join a major life insurance company. And so I jumped into that thinking like, okay, great. This is going to be easy money. Like little did I know, like, with financial professionals, like it ain't easy. And so I spent like a whole year just like killing myself to try to make the sales quotas and stuff. And by the end of that year, I was just like, what am I doing? Like, I am not having fun in my life. Like, what is this? But where that mindset, by then my mindset was already shifting dramatically. And I realized, oh, this gave me so much confidence. I can go out onto a podcast. I can go meet people in person. I can go make sales calls. I can go network. I can do all the things because I just did it for a whole year. And I was like, okay, now that I've built these skills, like, why not do it for myself? And that's exactly what I'm doing. So,
well done.
Yeah, so I love that we also have that parallel, and I really want the Monday Unmadness audience to hear this, that you now have two people with direct experience where they had this bone-crushing experience and they thought like it's like my life is over, and yet we took that and flipped it around and said, okay, what can I learn from this? What is the message here? What is my new direction meant to be now? If it's not this, then what is it? And it's that idea of like, okay, those doors closed, but let's seek the doors that are open. And where am I being led to where the open doors are? Does that resonate with you as well, with your story?
Gosh, yes, absolutely. And that sense that, for me at least, knowing something is not sitting right, not being able to fully articulate it at first, and it wasn't wrong enough to immediately stop, but you get to that point. It's present enough that it stays with you. And eventually, for me, that voice gets louder and louder and louder. And, okay, it's time to pay attention to this. Yeah, so I have an appreciation of what you're communicating there, Marissa, for sure.
Awesome. Great. Well, let's get to an example. So when we initially talked, let's see if this is the right one. You had shared an example with me about a client that you've had that was just so profound. And I thought it would be, again, really valuable for our audience to hear this, especially because your client was a woman with a family, and so many of my clients are women with families. And so really articulate like how you guided her, what was the choice she ended up making, and now what is her life like now?
Yeah, absolutely. This one stands out, and there is a financial side to their success as well. This is not what I'm focusing on in this particular conversation. And as a financial coach, and as a self-confessed money nerd, it is very tempting to focus on the dollars and the spreadsheets. But what that means is the more important thing. So, in fact, there was a couple that I was working with, and I'd come to meet the husband first, a transformational coach, and very successful in that right, although still looking to grow the business, and 3 young kids. And really, so these are all primary school age children, and mum working as an executive assistant for actually an investment firm and working remotely to another capital city. Of course, that was supposed to be a part-time role, and part-time roles are never part-time, particularly in that space where you've got that strong connection. She loved the job, but it wasn't as fulfilling as she hoped it would be in terms of being able to really bring her passion to the fore. So she had a particular artistic flair and was wanting to bring that to life in working with primary school children and developing programs, delivering those, etc. And so eventually, really quite swiftly, probably within 6 or 7 months of us starting to work together, there was clarity and confidence sufficiently developed that she did give notice and resigned from that role, stepped into launching her own business, which was soon oversubscribed with families and kids that wanted to participate in that, and living her passion, doing what you're doing, being financially successful at it, and contributing towards the budget for the household in the same way, and also really able to spend the time that she wanted to spend as a mum with her young children, without being pulled into that next Zoom call, etc. So it worked also on the husband side of the business, because naturally we carry some weight from how our spouse or partner is going and our aspirations for them and how we want to help them. So when she was able to take that leap, it actually had a positive impact for him as well on his business. So we are, certainly from an individual perspective, we are holistic beings. We can't separate all these parts of our life. They're interlinked. And when we have a partner that we're close with and a spouse, that energy flows back and forth too. So it's great to see, a rising tide lifts all boats is probably the saying that goes with that, in that energetic circle. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, I just love that example so much. And I really love that you spoke to the spousal relationship piece. I recently read a book and it was called what the heck was it called? It was based on the book by Betty Friedan called The Feminist Manifesto. I think it's called like the Feminist Manifesto Book Club. And it was written just a few years ago, but it's based in the 1950s. And the author wrote it based on what she thought her mother's experience might have been after speaking with her mom. And anyhow, she gives an example of how for some of the relationships of the women that were beginning to empower themselves and live a more authentic life and build businesses and do good work in the community beyond just motherhood at home, some of those relationships fell apart, and some of them, they got really close and they deepen the relationship. And so I love that you speak to that with that example. And for a lot of women, there's a fear, like, what if my husband is like, no, I don't want you to do this, or I'm going to divorce you, or whatever. But know that there is always a life after that. And you never know, it can bring you closer together in ways that you could never have imagined. And so it's really important to see that there's more than one outcome that could come from those choices, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to some movement, which is our usual kind of MO here. So I love this quote from Tony Robbins, because it really talks about how, like, you're standing in your values when the decisions just come easily, right? And there's not a lot of rumination or a lot of fear or anxiety about the choice. And so I thought this would be wonderful to share with everybody. So before we start, and I know I kind of shared this with you before we got onto the live call today, Sloan, but we do a 1 to 10 check-in. So for those of you, again, who are new, it's just a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being like, this is the most horrible day you've ever had in your life. And 10 is like, this is the most fabulous day you've ever had in your life. And so consider all parts of yourself in this moment of now, your physical place, mental place, emotional place, and pick your number. Don't think about it too hard, but just let it come to you, and you can either write it down or remember it if you are a younger person and have better memory than me. All right. And now we're going to go into some movement to just allow everything going on in our day to fall away. This is the way we start our week on Mondays. And again, this is always invitational, so you don't have to do these. However, especially if you're watching the recording and you're in a place where nobody's watching you, just go ahead and try it. Like, try something new. It's a healthy risk, right? And Sloan is going to be trying it with us. So we'll be joining each other together. And we'll be starting off now. I'll also show both the kind of standing version and the, and the sitting version. All right, so if you want to sit, what you would want to do is be on a stool or a chair where you've got just your buttocks really on the edge of the chair, okay, like so. Very good. All right, so Sloan, you'll be doing the chair demo. I'll be doing the standing demo. Okay, great, we're a team. Go team. All right, so for this first one, it is just an easy twisting of the spine, keeping your arms nice and loose. Imagine that you've got an oversized coat on and the sleeves are dragging on the floor, just maybe like when you were a child and you had your grandfather's coat on. Beautiful. All right, let's pause this motion now. And we're going to go into strengthening our legs, courtesy of Anna Jewett. She wrote the Eastern Bodies, or Eastern Mind, Western Bodies, Eastern Mind. So you'll want to have your feet a little bit wider than hip distance. Now on the chair, you can kind of just sit and angle and have your feet sticking out straight. Okay, Sloan? And so a little bit wider than hip distance. And now pigeon toe your toes in. Hands are on your hips. As we take a deep in breath here, we're going to exhale, bend our knees. And now imagine that your legs are spreading wide. Inhale as you stand up, keeping the legs nice and activated. Exhale, bend your knees. Keep spreading your legs wide, wide, wide. Let's do a few more. Inhale, spread the legs wide. Exhale, bend the knees. Keep that pressure. It's like the opposite of tweezers, right? We're going wide. Inhale up. Exhale, come down. Now this time, as we come up, we're going to add in a pelvic roll. So inhale, pressing the legs wide. Now press your pelvis forward and roll the body all the way up. Good. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, start to stand up. Press the pelvis forward and roll your body up. Okay, let's do one more. Again, constant tension on your legs, spreading wide. Inhale, press forward and roll up. Beautiful. Release your feet and legs. Just stand in your natural stance and pause and breathe. And notice what you feel, especially energy coming through your legs, coming up through your torso. Do you feel that, Sloan? Yeah, cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Awesome. All right. And then the last one is going to be a chair pose with cactus arms. So this will be a lot easier to do on the chair. But if you want the full experience, we'll start with our hands on our hips, feet hip distance apart, slight bend in your knees. Inhale your arms up. If you want to, you can touch the palms. Exhale, sit back into a yoga chair. You're pulling your belly muscles in and up into your spine. You can maybe feel the glutes and the thighs activated. Inhale here, stretch the fingertips forward. Exhale, bend your elbows to cactus. Inhale forward. Exhale, cactus. Let's do two more. Inhale forward. Exhale, cactus. One more. Inhale forward. Exhale, cactus. I think I lost count. We might have done an extra one in there. Inhale all the way up to standing, palms touch. Exhale, release your arms to your side. Stand and breathe. Whew, that one always gets me with the core work. And so these specific exercises are meant to support as well as activate the areas of our body that are associated with money. And we did these same ones 2 weeks ago when we talked about our spending plan. All right, so moving right along, let's get to our deal here. All right, so now get out your journals. And for this section, I'm going to hand it over to Sloan. He's going to introduce his methodology that involves 7 segments to completely encapsulate financial well-being. And then he's going to ask some questions. And I will be the timer for this. So Sloan, take it away and tell us more about how you work with clients and this model that you've developed.
Absolutely, thank you. This is, I feel, one of the really important ways that we can feel success with our finances and see the success as well in our life. So for me, money mechanics and what we do with our finances, how we think about investing and the right structures, etc., that's very important. There are at least 2 other areas that are also very important. One of those is our mindset, how we think, believe, and behave with our money. And the third area, which is linked to what we're about to talk about, is most important goals. So those things that are truly important, yes, with our finances, that's one area. But there's actually, as the slide that we were looking at suggests, 7 key segments of financial well-being. And these extend into other life areas. And so you might also think about these as 7 key life areas. So financial well-being is one. Other examples are health and vitality, or home and lifestyle is another very common one, family and friends. But the one we're going to be talking about today is, in fact, career and calling. And I'm very deliberate in having the career and the calling there. Sometimes they operate side by side. One's maybe a side hustle that we're developing, or we're stepping into a new career, or our calling could be the business that we're delivering. So it means something different to everyone, which is exactly how it should be. And the questions that we're going to share with you, which are just 2 of many, are designed to help us define and think about what that area means. And the reason that I did this is, as I said, we need a deeper layer to our main, most important goals, because that helps us to take sustainable action with our finances. And what that means is that we will have a compounding effect as we move forward, rather than potentially experiencing short-term motivation energy, which is like a New Year's resolution. It burns brightly, but it burns out quickly. So you end up with peaks and valleys to your progress, rather than sort of sustainable progress by being connected with the bigger goals. So let's jump in and we'll ask the first question. And we're going to be giving you a minute to think through and jot down what comes to you. So this is the career and calling element of our 7 segments of financial well-being. So the first question is, how does your career support or limit other areas of your life? So career or business, how does your career or business support or limit other areas of your life? So let's take a minute.
And go. Thirty seconds left. Ten seconds left. And that's time. Wrap up your writing.
Excellent. And the second question for us to examine in our journaling, what would you like to change? What would you like to change? Which elements of it are speaking to you or calling out? And that's something that you need to acknowledge and get down on paper. So let's see what flows. What would you like to change?
And go. 30 seconds left. Ten seconds left. And wrap up your writing. Oh my gosh, Sloan, I just, what really, there's so many things that you said that struck me. And when you asked the questions, I thought to myself, how often do we give ourselves the luxury of taking the time to answer a question like, what would you like to change about this area of your life? I mean, wow, how profound and deep. I'm so grateful and thankful that you proposed these to me when we agreed to do this talk together, because I feel like I want to go back and write this for myself. It's
it is a beautiful feeling.
It's a beautiful thing. It's like a gift we give ourselves to reflect in this way, Okay,
Totally.
so taking it to our conclusion here, and what I want to do is really share about this concept of money only has value in the context of human endeavor. And when Sloan and I first connected, he shared this sentence with me, and my jaw just dropped. I was like, wow. And so this was really kind of the goal of our coming together today for the Monday Unmadness audience, to help you get closer to finding your own context in your own story with your relationship to money in this way. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us about this statement, Sloan, that you would like people to know about or think about or reflect on?
Yes, absolutely. This is not something I always knew, and I probably borrowed the phrase from somewhere, although I cannot remember. So I would like to say I wish I knew this earlier, because I had been the stereotypical corporate person, chasing very hard, very ambitious, achieving well, but eventually working out that something needed to change. And in the context of my clients, I can help anyone pile up more cash, and that's a fantastic thing. Money does need our attention. However, what does that money enable or allow us to do? What opportunities and energy does it open up for us? That's where it's truly being meaningful. And I think sometimes we miss out on giving our gifts to the world, our community, etc., because we get trapped in that safety and security phase with our finances. So it's worth being on purpose and intentional with our finances in service of crossing that divide from where we are today to how we might rather be contributing and living in the world. So that's what it means to me.
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that. It reminds me of that really simple concept that started to become popular with Simon Sinek's work, which is, what is your why? Like,
Yes.
What is your why behind earning the money that you want to and that you do earn? Because if there's like a hollowness behind that why, then like, what's the point? And you're going to be miserable. And also, if you're not miserable and on the other side, you found that why and you're fulfilling that why, it's like the money just flows, right? You've experienced this. I've experienced this. And because there's your whole energy is different. And so that phrase, like, love what you do and the money will follow, I'm not sure I like the word love. What I might amend that to is align with what you enjoy, align with who you are, align with your authentic self, with how you want to contribute in the world, and then the money will follow.
Yeah, that's a really good observation. And just briefly made me think of another phrase that I often use with clients. And you were talking about love there. Not sure if that feels right, because maybe it sets up too high an expectation for ourselves. I'm not sure if that's where you're going, but that's what it made me think. But I often say, progress, not perfection. So perfection is too high a standard for us to expect from ourselves or anyone else. So if we can celebrate progress and see that we are moving further, whether it's with our finances or towards that better version that we'd rather be living of life, that's something that we should acknowledge and feel really great about.
Oh my gosh, I feel like that could be a whole other segment. I love that phrase. It is kind of my mantra, to be honest. I absolutely love it. Well, anyway, we're over time, so let's get on. Let's get on with it. Let's get on with our meditation, minute of stillness. I'm so delighted to have you join us with this. So I'll again be setting the timer, and then I invite you, Sloan, and our audience to, if you feel safe and comfortable, you can close your eyes. If that's not where you're at right now, then just soften your gaze about a foot in front of you as we come into this place. And here the timer is go. And so begin to focus on your breath. Focus on the feeling of your chest expanding as you take a breath in. The feeling of your chest receding as you exhale out. Notice the qualities of your torso with each motion, inhale and exhale. No need to change anything, just noticing your experience. Allowing your breath to come naturally. Allowing any thoughts to just float by like the clouds. And open your eyes or refocus your gaze into the room. Every time I do that, I feel like I want like 7 or 8 more minutes. But 1 minute is a great place for people to start. All right. Well, I cannot thank you enough, Monday Unmadness friends, for joining us today. And thank you so much, Sloan, for being our guest today. I am just super grateful to you and deeply, deeply honored that you agreed to join the community here and share your experiences and also share more about what you do. I'd like to really invite Monday Unmadness viewers that if you want additional support along the lines of empowered financial confidence, then please get in touch with Sloan. He can work internationally, right? Because we do what we do online. And so I'm going to take a minute now to copy and paste his links into the chat. So it will be his LinkedIn, his calendar link, if you would like to meet with him and talk with him, and then also his website. So let's do that now. And then, and also he's available on LinkedIn if you want to connect with him and be able to private message with him. And then the next thing I'll be putting in the chat is the links for me. So let's get that going. And also I am including the link to the spending plan that we talked about 2 weeks ago. There's so many people have reached out to me about it. And so that is available as an instant download, and that page to get that instant download is going to be included in these links. So let me get that over to you. And then we will go from there. So thank you again for joining. Thank you, Sloan. And I look forward to hopefully some future conversations that we can
explore. Yes, that would be great.
Yeah, we can explore more of the concepts of what you do and what I do. And thank you for taking the time, truly, being all the way across the other side of the world from Montana. And yeah, any last things that you'd like to share with the audience?
I wanted to say thank you to you and to the audience. It's great to be here. Be kind to yourself, and that personal compassion that we can show ourselves resonates with others, and it gives us the best place to be acting from, whether we're thinking about career or finances or both.
I absolutely love that. Be kind to yourself. That should be like the ending to all of the Monday Unmadness. And what a kindness that you've given to yourself by showing up today and watching, right? So I congratulate you for that. All right, thanks everybody. I'll be seeing you again in 2 weeks on May 18th. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks again. Bye now.